Did it. Wow. Hello, Nerd Initiative family. My name is Megan, and I am here with Matt and the amazing Kelly Thompson, and we are here to talk about so many things because so many things are happening in the world of comic books, and a lot of them have to do with Kelly Thompson. So welcome to the show. Welcome, Matt. I am very excited to have you both here.
Thank you. We are here. Yeah. Kelly's kind of like, Ted Lasso when they hear Roy Kent, she's here, she's there, she's everywhere. That's kind of how I feel these days about like some of the best comic books on shelves, including the one that we are going to kind of talk about and hype up today.
Thank you so much, guys. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're very excited. Matt has not stopped singing your praises about Absolute Wonder Woman, and it has been constant. So I know he wants to talk about it so bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to talk about it.
We'll get there, but also, I mean, you've got there's so many things. You got Jeff the Land Shark that you're getting ready to do. You got Absolute Wonder Woman, and then of course you've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer getting rebooted over at Dynamite, which that's getting ready to come out in July. So we can kind of start there with Buffy. Is this a property? How did this kind of get started? What's your origins, familiarity with Buffy, the property in general?
So I'm like a diehard Buffy fan. I mean, I think not only just as a fan, but I think Buffy in particular is pretty foundational to my writing. I mean, that sounds embarrassing to say, but like, I saw Buffy at a time where, I mean, God, this makes me sound so old, but I just want to shake kids' shoulders and be like, you don't know how good you have it. Like,
we had everything back in the day, man.
No, we didn't. We didn't have a lot of female protagonists leading shows. Like you wouldn't, I mean, especially that show, especially as it went on, it always had a lot of female protagonists, but it got sort of more and more as it went along. And it was a very female fronted show. And it was Buffy, the heroine that is Buffy. I think we take it for granted these days, but it was pretty remarkable at the time. And to be honest, I think she's built better than most that we even see today. I would put her, if I was making, an all-time greatest heroines of science fiction and fantasy, which is today a massive list of incredible characters, right? She would definitely be certainly my top 5. Is she my top 3? It's possible. I love her. I think a combination of the character as written and Sarah Michelle Gellar's performance is truly powerful. And so she was very inspirational to me as well as the show itself. And so I'm a big time fan. My first episode, weirdly, was the season finale of season 1, which is an episode in which she dies. So
yeah, I actually remember that. I remember
watching
it was as I was growing up, I was watching the show.
Like, imagine you're watching this episode sort of out of context. You're like, this is cool. What is this? You're watching it. You're like, oh my God, she's a star. They just killed her.
And she's dead. She's like, wait, is there going to be any more?
And then there's this incredible twist and this reveal, and it was amazing. And so it was the olden times. So I then had to start hunting down all those episodes and finding and catching up and everything. But I was hooked from the moment I saw it. It's very much my kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't have the Netflix to go and check everything out. And then of course the epic, like the cliffhanger, people don't remember, maybe they don't, like these TV shows, when they ended, you had to sit with that the whole summer and wait. You didn't get like news. You didn't get these leaks. You didn't know who was coming. Like set leaks weren't too much of a thing. So you're just sitting there and you're like, oh my God, that's how it ended. And then you have to wait till the fall, and then you'd get your TV guide and get the fall preview and everything like that. So,
I will say, at least with the olden time one, you got 22 episodes. Well, not for the first season of Buffy. It was a half season, but you get a full season of episodes, and you probably are only waiting the summer. Now, sometimes I fall in love with something that's 8 episodes and maybe I have to wait 2 years for
So
more.
you
So
and
I'm
yeah.
True.
not I'm not sure it's totally an upgrade, but yeah, it was definitely harder to find the content. There was a lot of sort of community around like sharing videotapes and stuff, which is, much more difficult but rewarding in a way compared to just like, oh, I can watch every single episode on Hulu and lose 3 weeks of my life watching this whole show, which is also a fun thing to do.
Hey, you know what? It keeps me from going out and spending money sometimes, so I'm cool with that. Just
That's
like, I don't wanna
true.
go anywhere, I'm gonna binge this and like, sweet. I'm fine with it. So, like, how did did you approach Dynamite then for this, or did they get with you? How did the idea of Buffy getting rebooted? Because I know we had a reboot, or not really even a reboot, a little bit ago with somebody else, but now we've getting like Buffy. This is a great resurgence. Dynamite's killing it with things like Supernatural and other
Yeah.
properties now.
Yeah, so I had worked with Nate Cosby before. He's my editor, and he's a frequent editor who runs a lot of big projects at Dynamite, like Thundercats and Silverhawks and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
We had done Nancy Drew together a few years ago, like just pre-pandemic, I think. I mean, what is time? I don't know. It was
I
around
feel
there.
like time has just disappeared. Everything pre like 2020 is a fever dream, and then
Fucking
everything
flat
after is
circle, man.
yeah. I'm telling you, like time is really a flat circle.
So we did that and we had a really good time and I wanted to do more with him. We also did a 3-issue run of Powerpuff Girls,
Yeah.
which I honestly would have loved to do more of. It was so freaking fun. It was a lot like doing Jeff but it's not like Jeff because there's a lot of dialogue in a Powerpuff Girls comic and it's
Yeah.
but
They're
but
feisty.
but
They talk a
just
lot of
it
crap. I love it.
I did sort of feel like I was channeling that, like dangerous but with a heart of gold thing that Jeff sort of has. Anyway, it was really fun. So I always love working with Nate and he had reached out to me and he's like, "Listen, I know you're incredibly busy, but between you and I, Dynamite has gotten the Buffy and Angel licenses and would you be interested in doing one or both of the books?" And I was like, "Well, I have good news and bad news." I was like, "I am interested, but I have to have both books and I only have one idea." And now I have to cough. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I apologize, everybody. I'm getting over a very bad cold or flu or
Oh,
whatever.
you don't
Who
have to
knows?
apologize at all.
Who knows the
You're
difference
fine.
between those two things, right? Anyway,
Yeah,
I was like, I only have one idea. Not because I couldn't have other ideas, I guess, but just because that was the idea I wanted to do. And I was like, I'm completely fine with if they don't like it and they bounce it back or even Dynamite doesn't like it, let alone the IP holders. I was like, but it's not going to be a situation where I want to try again. That's the idea. That's the only idea I'm interested in. So if you don't want to go on that very weird specific journey, like I totally get it. But he was very into the pitch and so was Dynamite. And then surprising me most of all, probably all the IP people were into it too. So here we are, Buffy and
you're you're
Angel.
you're making the thing now. Where in the timeline does this take place? Is it following the show? Is it set in between seasons?
So I haven't been saying the answer to that question.
Makes
Fair.
sense.
I've been very cagey about it. Partly because Buffy fans just know their lore, and so I feel
I
like the
like that.
second we get too many clues, I mean, listen, I've already seen people on Reddit who are too close for my comfort. So, um, but I think that the clues are really there. Like if you want to pour through the sketches and the solicits and the information that's been out there, you can probably piece together around where we are in the timeline. But it's not a reboot. Like it's not starting them over again, and it's not picking up later in their lives. It's somewhere within
I
like
love
that sort of 7 seasons or so.
Ooh.
So, and yeah, it's a big idea. I think it's really great, but I'm obviously incredibly biased.
Well, it couldn't come at a better time with the actual reboot. It was a Buffy that got canceled,
Well,
and then there was the unfortunate passing away of 2 of the actors. Would you say that any of that affected your writing for this book?
Well, it's actually 3 actors
Was it
now.
3?
Well,
Oh, that's right.
because it's Michelle,
Yeah.
and
oh
Brendan
yeah,
and Anthony,
that's
which
right. That's
Yeah.
is
right.
which is awful. I was on a podcast like 10 minutes after the news about Anthony Stewart Head, I was on a podcast, and by the end of that podcast, I was crying about Anthony Stewart Head, which, my God, Kelly, get yourself together. It's not like
No,
you
I
knew
mean,
them. It's not, he was
it's a
so,
staple. Like he
he's an
was, yeah,
incredible, like I I have a great dad, so it's not like I was like, boy, I need a father figure. Like my dad and I have a great relationship, and he was a good dad when I was a kid. But I just think that's an incredible father figure, and I think he was an incredible father figure for people like me who maybe didn't need it so much, and also for people who really did. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but that scene, like, I just don't think I could have ever fallen more in love with that character than that scene after Buffy has had sex with Angel and he's turned bad, and she's like brokenhearted and saying that he must be so disappointed in her. And like, his reaction is such love and support and no shame. And it's really powerful stuff. Even now, 30 years later, whatever it is,
yeah,
it's incredible. So it's been very hard to like, I mean, I just honestly can't think about it too much. I mean, like,
Mhm.
uh, we didn't change course on anything we were doing. Of course, it's all the same, but it's pretty sad, and like, it makes you feel a little bit like, you really do hope you're doing them justice. It seems like it means a little more that you want to be careful with that legacy they've left behind. The show reboot, and I'm very sorry for the fans that it's not happening. It seemed like that one really had a shot. I mean, I know they get talk about it every once in a while, every like
right.
several years it gets brought up again, but this one had people really behind it, and Sarah Michelle Gellar herself.
Yeah, she
So
was like super into it. Like I
yeah,
was
so
She was
it,
the
excited
one
for it
that had
too. Yeah.
to
yeah,
break the news to everyone saying, like,
yeah,
because they had contracts drawn up. They were
yeah.
there, and then the plug was just pulled.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were really separate from that. I mean, ours doesn't have anything to do with that. Like, even if we'd wanted to connect to it, it's not a good idea, and you can't really
Yeah.
Right.
do that. It just complicates things too much. I don't know that I don't know that the show not working out is good for us or bad for us. I think I just find myself grateful that we're there, so that people who are really disappointed by it, if they like comics or if they want to give them a try, like, here we are. We're telling, a story from that universe that I think is very powerful, and that it comes from a very big fan, like a
Yeah.
diehard fan.
Like who better? You know your stuff, and I mean, you guys have an excellent art team. Lee Luridge and Stephen Byrne, and even Jeff Eckleberry. You guys have a really good cast of
Yeah.
creators on this book.
And I want to mention Julia Giannacomo. She's the artist on Angel, and she's sort of a newcomer. I mean, she's done a ton of work, but people don't know her name as well. But I think they're going to know her name now, because the work she's starting in on Angel is exceptional. They're doing a really good
Oh,
job.
wow.
And I should mention, for Julia and Steven, it's, um, they have such a hard task. And we were very lucky to get artists of their quality, because right out of the gate, not all artists can or want to do the likeness stuff. It's really tricky.
Oh yeah,
It's a lot of oversight from legal departments and shit. Oh, her nose is too close. Oh, her nose is too far away. It's a nightmare. So, finding someone who can do that and is willing to do that, but who's also a great storyteller and can do all these other things, pace a story, the emotionality of it, which is so important in Buffy, but also the action. Like, you need someone who has all of those skills and who's incredibly well rounded. And I think especially the likeness and reference work means that that's really hard to find. And we got so lucky, because they're doing an incredible job, all of them.
yeah. I mean, when you're working with the IPs, it's people don't really realize, like, a lot of comic books, when you're dealing with these IPs, it's more than just, hey, the editor and everybody takes a look at it and okays it. No, you gotta go to the top. Whether it's Mattel, whether it is somebody who's overseeing Buffy or Angel or whatever
Yeah.
company it is. Like, there's a lot more people involved,
Yeah.
which really slows things down. And sometimes, as at the same time, so when people are like, why is this not coming out, delays,
Yeah.
like, there's a lot more behind the scenes in comic books than just
Yeah.
getting this out
Well,
there.
and a thing people really don't understand about the likeness stuff that's so crazy. And I understand, as someone inside comics, I understand why it is this way legally. But, the thing they say to artists is, oh, make it look just like the character, but don't make it look like the actor. And
Yeah.
they're the same thing. I mean, I know
Like,
what they
what?
mean. I know what they mean, but you're talking about, like, just the tiniest shavings of difference here, and it's like an incredibly hard ask. So asking people to do that on a monthly schedule and also do all the other things you need to do well in comics is a lot, and we were very lucky. And I will say, both of their issue ones look incredible, but both of them get better and better at finding their feeling in the world. Like, I was looking at pages of 3 or 4 that, I think it's 3, that Steven turned in, that like his Buffy and Spike is just whew, so
Oh,
good,
I'm so excited to
like,
see
so
Spike again. Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. So it's been exciting. Um, yeah, yeah.
How many? So is this going to be an ongoing? How many issues can fans kind of expect for these series?
So it's certainly planned as an ongoing. I think everyone in comics knows well enough to know it's only an ongoing so long as it's selling well.
Yeah, people got to show up. Yeah.
It's originally plotted out as 12 issues of each, just like for my original stuff I was doing, the Bible and everything. Um, but it's the first one thing I've been talking about, just to help people understand. The first arc, the 2 books are totally pretty much interlinked.
Ooh.
It's so you really want to be buying both. You could maybe, after the issue ones, buy just one if you really had to choose, but you will be missing part of the story, and they're talking to each other. So I think if you like the book, you want both pieces. It's my pitch is for comics people to think about it sort of like, instead of taking a year and building toward a big event, we're starting with an event. We're starting with an event that sort of sets a whole new status quo for the Buffyverse by a thing that happens that has a ripple effect on sort of everyone in the Buffyverse. So the angel characters, almost all the angel characters, are also in Sunnydale dealing with this situation. We do split the team into a sort of home team and away team, or for super nerds out there, X-Men Blue and Gold. um, so we sort of do that, but that's as much to service the narrative as to keep fans from being not able to tell 12 characters apart from one another who all get, you have to break it up. You just
Yeah.
can't do that. Also, I feel like my artists would just walk off if they're like, no, I can't have 12 characters in this book.
Too much going on. I'm out of here. What are you doing to me right now?
But even once but they're not separated cleanly by Angel Buffy lines. The characters are a little mixed up, which is something I'm very excited about. That's the thing about the show that you couldn't really do. Once the Angel characters spun off, there are very rare occurrences where they interact at that point, and
That's actually a good point. Yeah.
that's because of logistical reasons, production, budget, schedule. Like, it's just a reality, but we don't have that. Juliana and Steven will draw what I say to draw, so we can put the characters wherever we want. So I mean, that was part of the reason to take both books and try to integrate them a little bit. I know it's a big ask for readers to ask them to buy 2 books, but I hope they're going to really find it worth it. If they love the universe and they're interested in the concept, I think they will really enjoy the ride we're going on.
Yeah. Interesting. So was there but since they're so interlinked, was that really easy and seamless, or were there times when you're like, wait, I got to see which book was book again to kind of differentiate the two, to keep them kind of separate but the same?
I think my only issue with interlinking them is that for the first arc, it means that Angel's book doesn't really feel like Angel's show.
Mm,
I think the characters are still accurate to who they are, but they're not in LA doing supernatural detective stuff, which is really what the Angel show, the core of the
right.
theme of all of that, was about. So I feel like slight sort of, oh, that's maybe people who really love Angel will feel a little slighted. No, I personally like seeing Angel in that new capacity. Like, what happens when you take a guy who's been doing that and he has to go home again, and now he has to deal with all these people and sort of be a leader and, work within these frameworks. So I'm really enjoying that from a character perspective. But I get it if you were hoping to find brooding Angel in LA solving crimes, like, maybe you'll be a little disappointed. I will say that the intention is to, by the second arc, when the next big second arc starts, the Angel will have gone more to what people expect, where it's more like from their home base. um, dealing with the kind of things that they would more deal with on that show. So that's my only concern about it. But I think it's worth it. I wouldn't have pulled that trigger if I thought we were losing more than we were
Yeah.
gaining.
And I think it's not for nothing. I think it's a really good idea. I feel like we're in an area now with comic books that people want to see a little bit more risk taking, if anything, as well. So why not kind of interleak these books? Like a lot of these companies, things they want something like that, something fresh. So, like you said, I think it's a risk worth taking.
I hope so. I mean, we'll see. Like I'm very in love with these characters and have been for decades, and I'm very excited to be writing them for the first time. And I think the idea is really good in the sense that it's all built out of everything that's already there in the show. So I think there's an organic feeling to it, and I just hope people are gonna get it and enjoy it too. I mean, you know, my you know, I mean, the last thing I would want to do is make something the fans aren't excited about. Like
No, sure, yeah.
it's literally sort of my love letter to Buffy, and so here we go.
Well, I mean, you are the fans, so you know the things you love from the show. You know the passion that you've taken from the show, and you've seen it through a fan's eyes before you saw it through a comic creator's eyes. So I think that's something that needs to be said on.
I hope so. I hope so. I do think that you know I guess I feel like I really put my heart in this one. I put my heart in all of them, but it's really in this one. So I guess I hope it really lands, and it means a lot to me. I hope people will give it a try more than anything. And I do want to stress, like we're pretty much talking about how interlinked they are, but like for Buffy #1 and Angel #1, which comes out like about 3 weeks after Buffy #1, um, it's literally Buffy #1 is the issue that spends its time reminding the fans what they loved about it, showing them some stuff they've seen before, but like in a slightly new context. And that's done both to bring everyone back into the fold and show them where we're at, but it's also designed so that people who've maybe never tried Buffy before and want to pick it up can understand what this world is. And I would say more to the point, who Buffy is, because that's the key, right? And then it's also got the big twist of like the scene setting stuff that's going to have the ripples. But then Angel #1 has like all the emotional fallout from the twists and from how this is going to go. So I mean, we made a huge faux pas in the sense that you're never supposed to write a #1 like that.
Right.
But we just couldn't find another way to do it that serviced the narrative the way we needed it to be. I mean, if I could have bundled them together, I would have. But I have to give props to Dynamite for letting us give this a try, because it is an atypical way to do things. It's definitely risky. I suspect our original FOC numbers on Buffy #1 especially will be soft, because we're hiding all these things and we're not allowing people to know what the twist is, and we're being cagey about all the plot details. But I do think that once the plot details leak and people start reading it, I do think we'll get a big surge of people interested in finding out what it's about. And I certainly hope that's the case, not only for my sake, but for Dynamite's sake. Like,
Oh yeah, sure.
when somebody takes a risk, I want it to pay off for them. So, we'll see. Please buy these 2 comic books, is what I'm saying.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's atypical. I almost feel like there's so many nowadays. You can't. Everything is a spoiler. There's always a leak. There's always something. So,
Yeah.
for me, I almost like the fact that you guys are trying to make it so people kind of go in blind. They have to. That builds up the anticipation and kind of like a suspense, and it makes me personally want to pick up a book, because then I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. This is awesome. Versus, oh, I've seen all the plot leaked out on Reddit, because everybody loves going out there on Reddit and things of that nature. So I think this is a great idea, and I really hope that people do support it. And the FOC is June 29th for Buffy issue 1, right?
Yes, correct.
And
Correct.
people, you got to get to your local comic book shops and let them know, like, because it's very important. Like, FOCs are kind of how everybody tracks how well a book is going to be selling, and it really has a big impact. So
it does.
Vital, just absolutely vital. And I know that's been kind of a hot topic lately. So final order cutoffs are very, very important to both your local shop and to these amazing creators.
Yeah. I will say that, that's a part of the FOC stuff, um, that gets left out of the conversation is how important it is to your local shop,
Mhm.
because it really does help them understand what the demand is and what the impact is, and it helps them make more informed choices. And they're always, or not always, but they're mostly going to buy things, to have them on the shelf, even beyond what are going into people's boxes. But they use people who are pre-ordering as a great guideline for themselves. And it really protects them as well as supports us. So it's a big deal. It's a real stumbling block for comics, it feels like. But I got to be honest, as things become more digital and more shitty everywhere, I almost find call your shop and tell them you want a comic book kind of charming. I think it might come back around to being the cool shit to do. I
It
don't know.
does. It feels like it's going back to like having conversations again and getting to
Yeah,
know your shops,
being a
like,
community and like
yeah.
engaging with it. Yeah, it's not the worst thing in a way. Like I've always maligned it a bit. Not because I don't think we should do it, but just like it's so hard to sell books, and so many books struggle. And so, you want to go, oh, this system, it feels so antiquated. But I don't know. I'm coming back around to the other side where now I think it's charming.
It
I don't
is.
know.
It's you don't even have to know, like, if you're afraid of talking on the phone. I mean, most shops have social media. You could always reach out through social media. That's a way that you can, or just go to the shop. Like we have no third spaces anymore for people. I feel like that's another big detriment. Not to go off on
Yeah.
a tangent about society's collapse, but it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's no third spaces. So if you go to your shop, you never know, they're doing card nights. That may be a way for
Yeah.
you to find a friend group. It may be a way for you to find that favorite book, or maybe you are into magic, or maybe you are into Lorcana, or whatever it may be. And it just opens up and creates that community, because I feel like comic book community is really there. It's not just what you see online of people being nerds and just being negative. There really is a sense of community here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Megan. If
I could
what
not agree more.
me, I get on my soapbox.
Everything you're saying, and like I want to ask, then you ask. I'm like, okay, perfect.
Cross that question off.
Oh, wonderful.
Not for nothing too, but like it's working with like Dynamite and starting here. It's vastly different than, say, Absolute Wonder Woman, I imagine. Where do you feel a sense of less pressure when you're working on, say, Marvel or DC property versus more pressure with Buffy, because there is that atypical aspect that you're going after?
Well, I think, Absolute Wonder Woman has a ton of pressure on it because, there was huge pressure to be popular. And now that we are popular, there's huge pressure to both maintain it and you've just got so many eyes on it, right? That you
Yeah.
just want to make sure you're doing your best work if the most people are reading it. So there's a ton of pressure on Absolute Wonder Woman. But I do feel, you know, one of the things that's, I think everyone would agree, that's a huge success of all the Absolute titles is the infrastructure Scott Snyder built for it with DC. Like, there's a whole cadre of artists and writers who are out there talking about these books, who are putting their best foot forward, who are promoting it, who are, out there banging the drum, and DC has really gotten behind it as well. So I think there's a whole there was a lot of pressure to succeed about Absolute Wonder Woman, but it also, they set us up for success. They really did everything right. And with Dynamite, I feel like it's my job to really do that a lot. Like Dynamite doesn't have, and that's not a criticism of them. They don't have that same thing that they can do to activate. And there aren't a bunch of other titles to like group us all together
Oh,
and be a thing.
absolutely. Yeah.
So it's just these two books, and I just feel like it's my job to make sure everyone's reading them. So, and they're different kinds of pressure. But I'm a stressful person who always feels pressure. So
I'm constantly like anxious about something anyways. And I'm very much
Same.
like, guys, come on. So I completely get it. And, the team that you guys have together over at DC, Hayden and Jordy, Becca, Carrie, like, you guys have absolutely crushed it. I mean, getting to see Zatanna and, Diana work together, for example, with the Season of the Witch arc that you guys just did, like, my gosh, I don't know how you do it, but you continuously like hit a whole other gear every month. And I'm absolutely loving. I think you guys are really revolutionizing and injecting this new life into the comic book community and culture right now with not only this book, but just the other things that everybody is all doing right now.
I think I will say that particularly on Absolute Wonder Woman, but really on everything I do that turns out well. I have a lot of help. I have a lot of help from really incredible collaborators. And, Absolute Wonder Woman, Hayden is, I mean, just today, I don't know if you guys saw, but they announced they're
The
drawing
Legion.
the Legion
Yeah.
of Superheroes, which
Yes.
looks so freaking cool. I've seen a little bit of it that you guys haven't seen yet, and it's like amazing. Hayden is, in my opinion, a like true generational talent. Also a mutant freak who can draw faster than anyone. I say it with love and respect. Just an incredible speed, an incredible talent, and an incredible human being. And I don't know what sort of more you can ask for to have that kind of partner on a project. It's been
Yeah.
incredible.
They absolutely, some of the things that, Hayden is able to draw, and I'm just, wow, how, especially a lot of the way that you guys, a lot of the panel cutouts that
Yeah.
absolute like the splash pages, but it has very like sharded panel cutouts. I'm just
Yeah.
sitting there
Yeah.
sometimes staring at it like
Yeah.
somebody has this talent,
The
and it just blows my mind.
the page layout and composition stuff to me reminds me a ton of J.H. Williams.
Ooh,
But J.H. Williams has a very different style, like a much slicker, more realistic style. And so I I just feel like we're seeing like I don't know. It's funny because before I worked with Hayden, I certainly would have said I was a fan of creative layout like J.H. Williams III does. But as someone who read a lot of comics in the 90s, I am much more excited about a normal structured page because the 90s was so abusive with that. Like, oh,
oh yeah.
every panel we're breaking the frame. Every third panel is a sliding across
The
the page
90s
panel. Like,
comics were
no,
something else.
for no purpose, like just to try and make the page more exciting, but with no narrative purpose and with no drive towards storytelling. And that is like completely the antithesis of what Hayden does, right?
Yeah.
Hayden designs with complete purpose. Very occasionally there's a reading order thing where I'm like, the reading order on this, which is, as the writer, is I'm very retentive about that.
Mhm.
Like, I prize how the reading order and that the page is read correctly. But I'll tell you what, a couple times with Hayden's incredible work, I've just been like, it's worth it. Like I think people are going to struggle. I think one in particular that I felt was worth it, just to call out a specific example, was in Absolute Wonder Woman 5 when she's Medusa and
Oh
Steve
yeah.
is trying to get her back. And there's this double page spread of him trying to work. It is a truly spectacular page and it's so emotional. And when Hayden turned it in, I was like, I think the reading order here is a little rough, but I also think it's totally worth it. So I think that when you're so good, you can make me forget that I care about reading order. That's a real level.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was gonna say, like, as far as from a scripting standpoint, are you the ones that do you want to interject some of the art? Or you were like, hey, all right, let's break up the panel, or is that all like Hayden who's like, I think we should do this?
I write pretty tight scripts just because our narrative is pretty, like, we're doing a lot with a lot. There's a
Sure.
lot of layered symbolism and flashbacks and things like that where we're referencing things. So even though Hayden and I have a really good dialogue together, like I always write really tight scripts when I'm working with someone I don't know. As I as I get to know them and as we get to know each other, that changes a little bit. I would say my scripts on Wonder Woman have remained tight, but Hayden always knows that if they see a better way, absolutely. I hope all my artists know that, but Hayden certainly knows it. And I would never, I not only would I not want to control, but I also do not have the ability to suggest, hey, maybe this panel looks like this. So when you see a Zatanna page that has a Z interlaid into it, no, I had nothing to do with that. When you see an incredible layout that looks like a stag's head because we're dealing with Artemis, the goddess Artemis, no, I had nothing to do with that. That was a truly like a miraculous thing that showed up in my inbox one day. Like it's
Like fun
magical.
surprises.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, listen, working in comics is like that. It's one of the coolest jobs in that respect because your email inbox is constantly filled up with, listen, you wrote a great script or you hope it's great. You hope people who are working with you are inspired by it. But what comes back to you is so much fucking better than what you sent out. So you're just like, yes,
It's like when
awesome.
you're a
It's like
kid and you
like
get
winning
mail
the
and it's like
lottery. Yeah,
money, like
it's like
now you just get
Christmas. It's
junk
like
mail, but now
Christmas.
it's great.
Yeah, it's like Christmas. It's awesome.
And I'm such a nerd for the inner workings of how all that work. I love seeing the behind, like all that stuff. So I'm always in awe and love taking that extra time. And gosh, you guys are doing an absolute, no pun intended there, incredible job on Absolute Wonder Woman. And then I'm really excited. I know for especially Hayden, there was questions like, hey, are you still going to be doing Absolute Wonder Woman? Don't worry, everybody. They will still be doing Absolute Wonder Woman and Legion. It's okay.
Yeah, they've already been doing it for a while. I mean, we're still going to have our breaks. Like we're very structured where we have like 5 or 6 issues and then we have a 2 issue that's off. That's a different artist arc. So we're going to continue doing that format. But yeah, there's Hayden is not going anywhere. I don't think they want to, and we would certainly do anything in our power to stop them to change their mind if they wanted to go. So
tie them to the chair and be like, you're actually not going anywhere. You're not allowed at the DC basement. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, we're really aligned as a team. I've said before on other podcasts that I've been quite lucky, I think, as a creative where I really have had on the whole really great collaborators where we're on the same page, but I've never felt until Absolute Wonder Woman probably that just like every single person that's working on it is just like pulling, I don't know, it's like being one of those I'm sorry, my brain is blanking. One of those guys that the rowing guys where they're just it's in perfect sync. It like feels like that. It's like, I don't know, maybe Chris is our coxsman at the front or whatever, but like I just feel like we really are all pulling in exactly the same direction. Like not only issue to issue, but just our intention for the character and our intention for what we're trying to put out in the world. It's very united. And it's nice to feel that in a team always.
Well, I think it shows so much in Absolute Wonder Woman because, there's a lot of comics that have great plots. They have great stories, greatly written. And then there's great art. But I think in Absolute Wonder Woman, it shows the most where you guys are playing so hard off each other, but it's so natural that it just goes so hand in hand.
I was just going to say it is very hand in hand, but I will also say you said playing off each other. And I do think that's a factor. There's a little bit of a factor just where Scott and the insanity of Absolute Batman and Nick and everyone who's Jock and all Eric who've done those incredible designs and stuff, they're doing such wild stuff that I think that helps keep all of us for Absolute sort of like as a reminder, like, listen, you want to compete, you're competing with Absolute Batman too. So
like, you better get weird. Let's get weird.
You better
just look at Absolute Joker. My God.
You better keep thinking about these stories and how they work. I'm sorry, I have to cough again.
You're fine.
I do love that because then it's healthy competition in that regard, but it's not even really competition. It's like, hey, they're getting very weird and doing a lot of strange things with Batman.
I mean, I said competitive, so yes, I guess I have to own that I said that, but I think of it as more inspirational.
Yeah, because to me,
it's more positive. Yeah,
it's a good way.
Yeah, competitive seems more negative, and I mean it more as a positive. But I would also say it's happening within the book. Like when Hayden drew in issue 4 that giant building size sword chopping a third of that tetracycline off, I was like, how are we gonna outdo this in the finale? And I was like, I guess I gotta swing really hard. And so we did, and it worked. And I think there's been a couple times now that's happened where Hayden has one-upped my expectations so much that I've had to dig deep too to make sure we are constantly building. And there's a little bit of terror buried in that because it feels a little risky, but it's really paying off so far.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's pushing all of us to really stretch ourselves, I think.
Well, I was gonna say too, like that's perfect example. The inspiration. You guys are really digging deeper and digging deeper and finding that next gear, that next level, and it's unlocking things that you might not have known before. And it's very easy for people to, kind of get comfortable in how they do things. And so you guys are really going out of your comfort zone, and it's paying off extraordinarily. I mean, we're 21, 22 issues into this series now, and it just continues to get better. And it's just really a testament to everybody just being one unit and one well-oiled machine.
Well, I'm so glad it's landing for people. It means a lot. It's been incredible to watch it happen, to see the response.
Absolutely. Megan, I know, like, as we kind of do wrap up here, Megan, do you have any kind of final questions or final thoughts for Kelly here? And you're muted still, you nerd. Megan. Unmute your mic, you old
Sorry.
lady.
My daughter was like knocking at the door. So I was like, I don't think anyone wants to hear that. I don't have any final questions, but I will say, like, more often than not, when someone's talking about the Absolute universe, they're like, oh yeah, did you check out Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman? They're like, but did you see Absolute Wonder Woman? Like, that is always someone's bottom line. So
Yeah.
you're hitting every chord with the audience, and you're doing an amazing job, as well as your team.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Mhm.
I would sometimes like to swap with Absolute Batman's numbers, which are truly insane.
Well,
Doing
it's
things that
Batman.
we have not seen comic books do before. But yeah,
It's been
wow.
the success of it. I mean, listen, Scott is dragging all of us with him. I think we're all doing our best work, but I appreciate that he's bringing us all with him because he could have just left us to fend
Yeah.
for
He's
ourselves,
such a
and he
great
didn't.
guy and really is bringing everybody
He's
for this
been
ride. It's
such an
awesome.
incredible ambassador. He's been such an incredible ambassador. I'm very grateful to the support within all the Absolute titles. It's it sounds so like fucking Pollyanna to say. That's why I put a swear before I said Pollyanna, right? But it's just like we all seem to really like each other, and we're all trying to do the same thing and work together, and it's been one of my best working experiences in comics so far in just every way.
That is incredible. I love that. I love that. I love, again, I'm a nerd for the behind the scenes stuff. So it's always great, and Scott is just such a wonderful human being. And then hearing that everybody is just one big happy family, because you don't always not everybody loves each other
No,
in a job,
I
because at the end of the day, it is a job. But hearing that, it's like it shows on the pages of all of these
like
books.
if there's any like drama, I have not seen it, which is pretty impressive when you're talking about people with these kind of books and these kind of, well, I don't want to say egos, but yeah, I mean, yeah,
Well, I mean,
people
it's like a
have these
who's who in the comic book
expectations.
community at this point. Yeah.
I would also say, other than people being really busy, Scott in particular, I don't really there's no change in these human beings between before we were when we were just starting and the success now. Everyone is just the same. They're just the same human beings, and I love that.
That's the best part of it.
um, Especially because I have a very weird thing with celebrity where, not that comic book people are celebrities. I mean, Scott is, but maybe Jason Aaron is. Some of them are. I'm not, because I don't really engage with all that stuff. But like, what's real in a celebrity? Like, what are they like at home? Are they this same person or whatever? So it's fun to watch something, to like know these people and be in a regular meeting with them on Zoom, and then have like some careers really explode, and like these
Yeah.
books do incredibly, and everyone just be the same, just comic writers and
Nobody's
artists
getting,
trying to.
their
It's
cheek fat removed and all
it's
sorts of plastic surgery.
it's just refreshing. I don't know. Nobody became some monster or something.
No,
It's
in
nice.
today's world too, I don't think that can be stated enough, that how everybody just has maintained this level of just awesomeness. Rule one in life that we live by is don't be a dick, and that
Yeah.
really
It's
seems to
true.
be how everybody is. And
I should
it,
also
it
say, while I'm being all Pollyanna about, the industry has plenty of problems. I'm not trying to sweep them under the rug, but Most of the people I've met since I started working in comics who are people who are making are just trying to make good comics. They're mostly good people trying to do their best work. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But,
Yeah.
are there systemic things that I think we've got to deal with and that could be way, way better? Yes, absolutely. But the individual people that I meet in comics when I was at Marvel, now that I'm doing more work at DC, all the smaller pubs I've worked for, they're just people who love comics trying to make
nerds.
comics.
Stories.
It's a bunch of nerds going to work.
Yeah, it really, truly, bunch of nerds clocking in,
living their dream jobs in some cases,
Yes.
so it's great.
Yes.
And kind of speaking of, I know, do you have any Comic-Con appearances coming up? Where can people kind of find you over the next few months, rest of the year?
So I don't really do any appearances or, signings or anything, but the best way to keep in touch with the books I've got coming out and sort of interviews I do and things is I've got a Substack newsletter. It's free, 1979 semifinalist.substack.com. And I'm on Blue Sky under Kelly Thompson. I am barely engaged with the other social medias.
There's too many of them, and they're all
they're all
the AI thing of Instagram.
The AI stuff is awful, and I don't want to give any money to Mark Zuckerberg. I don't want him to have my stuff. I don't know. It's like I can't totally disengage from Instagram because almost all the artists in comics rely on it so much. And like I want to support them. So I stay on there and I'll retweet or blog,
whatever we call
post,
it,
whatever we call it.
Yeah.
I share, I try to share people's stuff if they're sharing it, but like I even don't like posting. I mean, I know artists are putting their stuff on there of their own free will and that's their choice, but like I have a bit of a hitch about putting other people's art on there now. So even if it's art for our book and stuff, it's like if Hayden wants to put it up there 100% and I'm happy to like share that, but I don't feel great about putting Hayden's art up on my Instagram because I don't want to put it into that system. I don't know what they're doing with it. It's like
with all
it's
the data
exhausting.
centers.
It's
I don't blame you at all.
It's exhausting. So anyway, the
I wish we could go back to like the 90s in some ways. Like you said, we're all going to meet back up community. Like, please bring back those third spaces. God, I'm meeting up at the green box outside. Jeez.
Did you see that thing the other day? I saw a phone advertised that's like an old school flip phone that won't let you on the internet, but like it'll do a couple things like GPS or something. I mean, I think the complaint I saw was it was selling for like $500 or something, and people were like, didn't this used to sell for $50? And I was like,
we used to be able to buy things for so God, we can get groceries and a phone back then. Jeez, let me tell you, kids.
Groceries and a phone in every home.
We really had it. Back in my day, I could afford milk and bread. But don't call me after 9.
Yeah.
So really though, Kelly, thank you so much. Cannot thank you enough for coming on, talking not only Absolute Wonder Woman, but I mean, Buffy and Angel are getting ready to come out in July. Those are massive times. I mean, guys, if you're at the beach, if you're in a long car ride, whatever, taking a trip, this is the perfect time to get some comic books that maybe you wouldn't normally pick up, or maybe you're a big fan of, and take that chance. And it'll pay off. I promise you. There's a comic book out there for everybody.
Sure.
Did it. So yeah, Megan, I'll let you wrap us up.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us, Kelly. It has been such a fun time, as it always is with your interviews. Be sure to check the show notes under this episode, and you can find out where you can support Kelly, get her Substack newsletter, and you can find out how to keep up with everything Nerd Initiative. So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Kelly. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.